Yes, boys, welcome to my natural testosterone protocol. Now, before I dive deep into all this stuff and I break it all down for you, I want to tell you boys about an epidemic that's currently going on, and that's the epidemic of low testosterone in men. Because you see, since the 1980s, there's been a 1% decrease in levels of testosterone in men every single year. And the result of that is that now every 1 out of 4 men under 30 has clinically low testosterone. And you would think that you only see this in average men who confine to average standards and have an average lifestyle. But the thing is, you see this reoccurring pattern in entrepreneurs specifically. And I see it so much, not only because I've experienced it, but because I've lived around them, because I coach them, and because I'm in communities with them and I consult them on these exact issues. Now, one of the biggest problems that I see around entrepreneurs is that we have this culture that you just need to be locked in, you need to be a high performer, and you have no excuses to not be a high performer. And everyone believes that discipline is going to get you there. Everybody believes that if you just push more, you're gonna feel more energized because you're disciplined. But that's not at all how it works, because if you don't have the energy to back you up, it will be so much harder for you to stay disciplined. And you've tried that before. You've tried to simply be disciplined, but you still feel flat. Your energy is still crashing and you still don't have the drive that you once had. Now, the only conclusion you're actually allowed to draw from this is that you simply have to grind harder, that you simply have to push more. But the thing is that it's contradictory, because the more you push, the more your presence is stripped away from you. The more the enjoyment that you have or you once had is stripped away from you. And all the drive that you have left is also then consumed, leaving nothing for you to actually try to do more, for you to actually be able to grind harder and push more. Now, you may think that being tired is the cause of all of this. You can't do all these things because you're tired. But the thing is that being tired is simply the symptom. Because have you ever noticed those guys that work half as hard as you, but they're more jacked? Every time they walk into a room, they're more present. Every video you see of them, they just look so much more in control. You see it every single time in their videos, in calls with them, in masterminds that you see them. Now, if you're watching this video, chances are that you are not like those men, and you want to be like those men. And you simply think that it's an energy problem or a testosterone problem. I'm here to tell you that it's not. Because yes, testosterone is a component of it, but it is only, once again, a symptom, a deriving factor of these other things, which is your mitochondrial efficiency, your gut health, and your nervous system regulation. That's the actual whole system that is either working with you and for you, or it's going to be working against you. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix that. But really quickly, I want to show you exactly what it's costing you, because you probably haven't added that up yet. Maybe right now, you're at 20, 30, 40, 50, even maybe 100K months. You've got more responsibilities than you've ever had before, yet sometimes, some mornings, multiple mornings, you wake up and you don't feel capable of carrying those responsibilities. You don't feel sharp. You don't feel energized. You've lost some of that competitive edge that you once used to run on. Right now, you feel like you're just keeping your head above water. You're just surviving, when ultimately, you decided that you wanted to chase complete and ultimate freedom, because you've decided to leave the rat race, to not be financially dependent, to actually be financially free and have control over your life. But you still leave your body feeling like it's going from paycheck to paycheck. Every single day is almost a beatdown on yourself. And that's the exact gap that I want to close in this video. So if you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Marco Fontana, and I myself was in your shoes not too long ago. You see, I had my personal own transformation, which then gave me enough confidence and actually allowed me to upgrade my life a bit. I went and I played professionally, but then I decided to drop out of university, decided to drop out of sports and open up my business, my fitness coaching business, which started to go pretty well. But then the more I scaled my business, the more deals I closed, the more responsibilities I actually had, the more I had to take upon me. And that left me with less time to actually focus on myself. And the less I focused on myself, the more burnt out I felt, and the more my business actually paid for those mistakes. And so I decided to take a step back and just fully lock in and obsessed myself with rewiring myself from the inside, because I understood that I had the knowledge to run my business better. I knew that I had the systems to run my business better, but the CEO that was running my business wasn't actually compatible and wasn't actually capable of running everything at 100%. Therefore, I started to stagnate. And in fact, I actually started to fall, make less money, close more deals, show up less energetic in every single video I made, and business just slowly started to boom. And since then, I've been coaching not only entrepreneurs on exactly how to do the same for them, but I've been consulting over 30 entrepreneurs in private communities. I've consulted a lot of big guys in the info space, agency owners, growth operators, and sales reps that have been experiencing the exact same improvements that I have experienced. So here's exactly what I'm going to break down in this video. And it's the 3 main needle movers that I want you to understand and apply today. It's the exact same first 3 needle movers I give every single one of my clients to start on before they add any extra supplements and fancy stuff, thinking that that is going to be the actual cure to their symptoms. I want to heal the cause, not the symptoms. And you can start implementing these 3 today, and it's going to get you to have higher testosterone. You're going to feel more sharp, and you're going to increase your performance exponentially. So I want you to actually watch this video. I don't want you to just skip through the video and be like, okay, this supplement is good for me, let me implement the supplement. Okay, this routine is good for me, let me copy and paste that routine. I want you to watch the video. Understand what it is I'm talking about. I'd rather you stop the video on the part that resonates with you most, that you can actually just stop, go away, apply it, and then come back and watch the rest once you're ready to implement the rest of this stuff. So without further ado, let me get into this and talk about the first point, which is your cortisol. And you may experience high cortisol in one of these 3 symptoms, if not all 3 combined. The first one is that you're wired, but you're tired. So throughout the day, you feel kind of tired, you don't feel energized, then comes night, you are exhausted, but you still cannot fall asleep. That is high cortisol. Now the second symptom is flat drive, and the whole industry actually glorifies having flat drive because they don't glorify the flat drive itself, but they glorify the actions that lead you to have flat drive. They say you have to grind more, you have to push harder, sleep 3 to 4 hours. That'll show everybody that you're actually serious. And everybody flexes low sleep, high cortisol, and just being stressed all the time. Now, that's kind of the same as a blue collar coming up to you and telling you that, I'm actually grinding every single day out there in the fields, in the landmines, in this and this and this, and you're just a princess on your computer making money. Simple as that. Like, you're not actually a real man. But at the end of the day, who is actually making more money? Who is actually living the lifestyle that they want to live? So would you rather flex the fact that you're constantly under pressure, that you don't have drive, that you wake up feeling like absolute ass? Or would you rather flex the fact that you wake up every day, you get to do more, you get to feel more energized, and you get more money out of it? And now the third symptom is you having belly fat. Now, belly fat is actively working against your testosterone, not necessarily just because of the cortisol, because the cortisol is causing you to hold onto that stubborn belly fat, but that belly fat has an enzyme called aromatase that is actively converting your testosterone into estrogen. So you have even less testosterone on top of high cortisol, and you don't have anything to combat that. So the question is, how do you actually fix it? And it's very simple, but before I want you to understand that cortisol and testosterone use the exact same raw material to be produced. The thing is, cortisol is prioritized. So the more cortisol you have, the more of the pregnenolone, which is the raw material that is being used and converted into cortisol rather than being used to produce testosterone. So the more you lower your cortisol, the more you can actually increase your testosterone. Now, don't get me wrong, cortisol is very important for us. We need cortisol to thrive. We need cortisol to handle threats. We need cortisol to wake up. But the way we've been biologically wired and written to use our cortisol is just simply having it in short bursts. It goes in a burst and then it comes down. There's a threat, cortisol goes up, you handle it, it goes down. But us, as entrepreneurs, we're constantly putting out fires. We're constantly handling shit. We're constantly under a tight schedule. We're constantly trying to rush things. And not only that, but our environment when it comes to training, when it comes to blue lights constantly every single day, when it comes to not sleeping a lot, everything else is raising your cortisol. Now, it's a very simple fix, however. And these are the 3 main fixes I want you to actually implement. And the first one is your routine. Now, when I say routine, it's just having a hard stop on your routine. It's having a hard stop on your day. What that does is it does 2 things. It allows you to downshift. It allows you to, okay, I finished my workday, stress done. Now let me actually wind down. Let me be present for the rest. It allows you to actually lower your cortisol so you can actually sleep properly. And that takes us to the second point later on. Now, the second thing that this actually does for you is it allows you to be more efficient, because if you have a hard stop on your day and you can't get all of your work done, it allows you to analyze where it was sloppy, where you weren't able to execute as much, and therefore it gives you data to improve on what to do tomorrow to make sure you get everything done from this time to this time. Now, the second way to fix this is your sleep, which I will go over in just a second. But sleep needs to be fixed because it has a direct impact on your testosterone production, on the way you're actually recovering, and on the way your nervous system is being regulated. And so if you're not getting proper sleep, you're going to be even more stressed because of the lack of sleep. And then the next day you go and you stack even more work stress, and maybe you even train, you add even more stress. And so you just get to this complete abundance, this negative abundance of cortisol in you, and extra stress that you shouldn't be handling you, leaving you to genuinely feel like ass. You will lose your drive, you will get fatter, you will be more tired, but you won't be able to actually do anything about it. And the third and final point, which I will also go over this in this video, is your nervous system. Now, when I say your nervous system, it's the way you're fueling yourself. It's the way you're healing yourself through what you're eating, through fats, through minerals, through vitamins, through all of these things. And then there's also the load you are producing in the gym. So if you are actively working out, you are maybe impacting your cortisol even more by working out, because the more you work out, it doesn't mean the more shredded you'll get. It may mean the more stressed you will become, and I'll go over all of this in just a second. Now, quickly going down to your sleep, the three main points that you need to do to actually improve your sleep is improving your circadian rhythm, having some wind down time, and sleep enhancers if necessary. Now, sleep is so important because you can have everything else dialed in. It can be your training dialed in, your nutrition dialed in, your cortisol is being handled, but if your sleep isn't properly dialed in, everything else will be damn near non-effective. It can help, it can make you feel a bit better instantaneously, but you will understand the compounding effect of poor sleep. So the first step to increasing your sleep output is improving your circadian rhythm. Now, this is so important because it is not just about what time you're waking up and what time you're going to sleep. That's not what your circadian rhythm does. What it does is it actually allows your body to cycle the way your hormones at the times that your hormones are being released. So when your testosterone is being produced, when your cortisol is being produced, and all of these other things that are so important for you, melatonin for sleep. Now, if your circadian rhythm isn't dialed in, how do you expect your hormones and your body to be functioning properly? So how do you actually improve your circadian rhythm? Now, the first step is to get sunlight in the morning, is to accompany the cycle of the sun, because the cycle of the sun is going to allow you to automatically align yourself to the way your body should be working. Now, obviously, if you're like in Norway and it's daylight all day or it's night all day, then obviously that is not going to be good for your circadian rhythm, so you need artificial ways to compensate for that. That sunlight is going to be so important. So when you wake up, for the first 10 to 15 minutes, try to get some sunlight on your skin, not just through a window, actually on your skin, to allow yourself to signal that it's time to wake up. It'll also allow your body to set kind of like a timer for when you are allowed to then produce melatonin for you to actually prime yourself for better sleep. Now, also, you can watch the sun go down in the afternoon. You can go and you can watch the sunset, signaling to your body that it is time to get ready to somewhat go to sleep somewhat soon. And now the biggest issue is that we have blue lights, and blue lights block your melatonin receptors. Therefore, the way to counter that is to use red light glasses. What that will do is it will not allow any other artificial lights and stuff to signal to yourself, to signal to your body that it is still time to wake up. Because think about it, if you're getting mixed signals that the sun just went down, but then you have blue lights telling you that it's still daytime, your body won't actually know when to produce melatonin, when to actually prime yourself for sleep. So red light glasses fix exactly that. The third thing is having consistent wake up and consistent sleep times. If you're waking up one day at 6 a.m., one day at 9 a.m., you are literally producing an artificial jet lag. And we all know how you feel once you're working on jet lag. And the last thing that is so important to not spike your cortisol even further and not allow your circadian rhythm to function properly is pushing your morning coffee at least 60 to 90 minutes after waking up. And when you do have it, like I have it right now, I'm having it 2 hours after waking up. I always have it with butter and MCT oil to slow the delivery of caffeine and not spike my cortisol even more. Now, the second thing is your wind down. Now, just like for every single call, you have a process that will get them to warm up to the call. Think of this as you warming yourself up to the sleep. It's you actually accompanying the rhythm that you progressively shut down more and more and more. And the first thing I want you to do, and we've talked about here, is having your blue light blockers to not signal anything to yourself that it is still time to be awake. Now, the second thing is temperature. Playing around with your external temperature and your internal temperature is going to allow you to sleep better and also sleep deeper. You see, your body to fall asleep needs to experience a 1 to 2 degree change in your body's temperature. So what you can do is set your room to be as cold as it possibly can, normally around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius. Now, the second thing is what I personally do is either I'll have a hot shower or I'll have a nice sauna before, because what that does is it allows my body temperature to raise, and therefore it forces my body temperature to naturally drop. And when I experience that drop, I'm already proning myself to sleep. And especially if I go into my bedroom and it's cold after I've just been to a hot sauna, think about how much contrast there is, and therefore it allows me to sleep so much more. Another thing is you can just simply sleep naked. That also helps you experience that temperature drop even more. And the last thing that I want you to understand for your wind down is not having your phone in your room, or having it off, or having it in airplane mode, because you having screens in general before going to sleep is going to not only stimulate you mentally, but also if you don't have the blue light blockers, it is going to once again block your melatonin receptors and not allow you to prone yourself for a good night's sleep. And the last thing I want you to consider when it comes to sleep is sleep enhancers. Now, these will help you increase your quality of sleep and how you are actually performing in your sleep. But I want you to understand that without these two, these are damn near useless. Now, the first thing is sleeping supplements. I personally use mine. I get mine from Use 8 Hours. I'll probably leave a link in the description if you want to check them out. Now, what they have is they not only have magnesium bisglycinate, which everybody knows, where you hear everybody talking about magnesium for sleep, but they also have myo-inositol, they have L-theanine, they have tart cherry, they have bioperine, and they have apigenin. So all of these are a combination that will help you to relax your nervous system, prone you for a deeper sleep, and enhance you when you're actually sleeping. Now, these are not like melatonin. It's not meant to get you tired. It is meant to get you in a more relaxed state and improve the way that you are already sleeping. Now, the second thing is fully having a blackout silk mask. What that's going to do is it's going to allow you to fully block any light signal, and there is no signal to yourself that it is any time to be awake. And the third and final thing is having a mouth tape. Now, what this does is it allows you to breathe through your nose, which allows you to further regulate your nervous system, especially during sleep. So you won't be necessarily snoring, you will be breathing through your nose, allowing yourself to oxygenate even more. And on top of that, what breathing through your nose does is it allows you to calm down your vagus nerve, which is going to once again allow your full nervous system to be regulated properly. Now, enough of sleep, and let's get to the fuel and movement. I need you to understand that you need to fuel yourself not for calories, because yes, calories may determine how you look and macros may determine how your body is composed, but your micronutrients is going to determine not how you look, not how you are composed, but also how you feel. Because think about it as a business owner that has a nice flashy business, but it is going like shit, and he is just under constant stress, and it's hard to handle and it's hard to manage. The only person who's actually catching heat for the broken fucking business, despite it looking good, is his business owner. So it doesn't really matter if you look amazing or not if you feel like shit. Now, I want you to understand that you've probably been taught to be in a fat-phobic diet for your calories. Oh, eat lean meats, eat chicken, eat rice. You can't be having fats because they're gonna get you fatter. Now, I want you to understand that cholesterol is directly responsible for testosterone production. But then I also want you to understand that just having cholesterol to produce testosterone in itself isn't enough. Your body needs to have specific micronutrients to be able to increase that conversion. Think of the micronutrients as tools. You can have all the raw material in the world sitting there, but without the right tools, it will not be converted properly and it won't be actually helpful for you. So how do you actually get these micronutrients from foods other than just supplements? Now, you can have the most important ones that you need from cheese, raw dairy, raw milk, from liver, which is one of the most micronutrient dense foods in the world, from eggs, oysters, red meat, and royal jelly is going to be insane for testosterone production once again. And I want you to understand that being under chronic undereating, maybe for an average person is okay, but for you as an entrepreneur, just look at all the stress that we've just mentioned that you are experiencing, right? All of that is going to then be compounded on top of under eating because your body isn't being able to be fueled the way it should. So it's just another stressor for yourself. When it's under eating, with a lack of sleep, with a lack of recovery, with being constantly exposed to business stress and having to put out fires and all of these things, and on top of that, overtraining, stimulating your stress and your cortisol even more. You see how it's not just one thing, how when everything compounds, it becomes so much that your body physically cannot handle it anymore. Now, I don't have it mentioned here, but another very important factor is gut health, because without the right gut health, your body won't actually be able to absorb any of these nutrients and therefore won't be able to be as effective in testosterone production. Now, if you want the full breakdown of how to increase and improve your gut health, I have other videos on my channel. So simply go to my channel. There will be a video talking about your gut health and you can simply watch that, and that will be helpful enough. And now the last piece to the puzzle is your movement. It's the way that you are training. If you train 6 times a week to failure every single time, and you're once again under constant stress, you're not eating properly, you're not sleeping well, your training is just going to be serving as another stressor. It's not going to be serving for your gains. It's going to be serving for an increase in your cortisol even further, because training itself spikes your cortisol. But if your nervous system is regulated, if everything else is regulated and is on point, then your body can actually lower the cortisol spike after your training sessions. Because you need to understand that stress in your body is just processed as stress. It's not like there's no business stress and training stress. Your body doesn't necessarily make the distinguishment between the both. They're all just stress, and if they're all there present the whole day, then they just keep on compounding. So how do you actually structure your training so that it does actually benefit you and not work against you? The first thing is you need to match your intensity. If you've slept for 4 hours, I don't want you to go in the gym and hit fucking PRs. I want you to go in the gym and deload a bit. Don't go 100%, go 70%, go 60%, have a lighter day. Maybe just have a walk that day. The second way I want you to do that is by implementing 3 sessions a week with low volume and high intensity. Is going to allow yourself to recover even more. And I want you to stop having late trainings, because if you have late trainings, it is going to disrupt your sleep even more. And the last thing, and very simple, is having walks. Now, walks is going to help you with your digestion. It's going to help you with your nervous system regulation. It's going to help you be more creative. There are so many benefits to walks, and you don't have to do 10K steps specifically every single day, but after every meal, after a heavy work session, after a heavy training session, just have a 10 to 15 minute walk session. Now lads, that is my natural testosterone protocol, and I know it's a lot of information to implement. That's why I asked, pause the video, implement, and then come back to execute even more. But if you want this all done for you, personalized, tailored to you, to your schedule, your training schedule tailored to you, your meals tailored to where you shop, to where you eat out, to where you're traveling, everything done for you personally, then I have my coaching, in which I've already helped multiple men have their own transformation, increase their energy, increase their output and performance in their business. And I will leave a link in the description for you to actually book a call and see if it is the right fit for you and if it is something that you think you can genuinely benefit from. Other than that, boys, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.